Our brains confuse things that we read and the things that we see as memories. I repeat, our brains confuse the things that we read and the things that we see as memories. Why am I saying this? So, a few days ago, I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were discussing how much history is real and how much is fake. And my opinion is that most of the history that we read and we watch is fake. Maybe about 5% is real. And as I was speaking to my friend, we ended up talking about World War II. And he was describing to me what happened during World War II. And I realized that he was essentially telling me a scene from the movie Saving Private Ryan, a movie that I watched when I was a kid. It's a war movie about World War II. And he was telling me very confidently about what happened during World War II, about the tank scenes and the jets and all this stuff, the planes, the bombings, all that stuff. And he was telling me as though he saw it, but he was just reciting, he was just repeating what he saw in the movie. And I was like, bro, all you just did was confuse a movie scene for history, right? And then ask yourself, how much of our memories, how much of our so-called history is actually real, and how much of it is just what was fed to us through media outlets like our history books and the movies and the documentaries that we are presented, right? I believe reality is a dance between the observer and the observed. So if what the observer is observing is hijacked, then reality is hijacked because memory becomes the false projection, right? So historically, we get our history, our news, our reality from media outlets, whether it's the newspaper, whether it's TV shows, movies, documentaries. And if what we are watching is false, then reality becomes false. So, what percentage of our memory is actually real? In summary, many of us imagine movie scenes or part of a book, and we confuse that as a memory. So, the question is, what part of history is actually real? Now, think of colonial history, Roman history, biblical history. How much of that is actually true? How much of that actually happened? What do you guys think?